Mountain Smith here, reading Genesis for the second time. I have read it one time before, but it was a very quick read, and I really didn't grasp what I was fully reading. So I decided I'm going to reread the beginning chapters of Genesis, the book of Genesis, and kind of get a better understanding. So I read Genesis 1 just now, and basically the account of creation. I have some real questions. Is God with other people? Who is us? That's one of the biggest questions because it's pretty specific. And it sounds like God is creating human beings, us, after his own image or after their images, because he says to be like us. But we ended with the sixth day in Genesis 1, so we're going to move on to Genesis 2. Okay. And I'm going to kind of breeze through this because this is my second time reading, so I'm just coming up with other questions and really an understanding of what I'm reading. Okay, so join me. By the way, I'm in the New Living Translation if you want to join me. So the creation of the heavens and the earth on everything in them was completed. Oh, I think I screwed that one up. So the creation of the heavens and the earth and everything in them was completed. Nope, I said that right. the Bible is kind of difficult to read sometimes. On the seventh day, God had finished his work of creation, so he rested from all his work. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because it was the day when he rested from all his work of creation. This is the account of the creation of the heavens and the earth. I think that's why we call, I've mentioned this before, but that does make sense that that's why we set aside Sunday has always been known to be the holy day, and we rest. All right. The man and woman in Eden. When the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, neither wild plants nor grains were growing on the earth. But he did let the waters beneath the sky flow into one place. He let light appear. He has let the seeds will produce all kinds of plants and trees from which they came. This is what happened. The land produced vegetation, all sorts of seed-bearing plants and trees with seed-bearing fruit. Their seeds produced plants and trees of the same kind, and God saw that it was good. That is marking the third day. But we get right into it, and it says, when the Lord God made earth and the heavens, neither wild plants nor grains were growing on the earth. Okay, so I get that, but is that a reference to before the third day? I don't know. For the Lord God, had not yet sent rain to water the earth, and there were no people to cultivate the soil. Instead, springs came up from the ground and watered all the land. Then the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground. He breathed the breath of life into the man's nostrils, and the man became a living person. See, this is a part where I think I might have missed something earlier, because as he says, for the Lord God had not yet sent rain to the water the earth, and there were no people to cultivate the soil. Instead, springs came up from the ground and watered all the land. It hasn't rained, so we have springs on earth. That's what he's saying. Okay. Then the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there he placed the man he had made. The Lord God made all sorts of trees grow up from the ground, trees that were beautiful and that produced delicious fruit. In the middle of the garden he placed the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Very important. A river flowed from the land of Eden, watering the garden and then dividing into four branches. The first branch, called the Pishon, it's not French, Pishon, Pishon, flowed around the entire land of Havilah, where gold is found. The gold of that land is exceptionally pure aromatic resin and onyx stone, and are also found there. The second branch, called the Gihon, flowed around the entire land of Cush. The third branch, called the Tigris, flowed east of the land of Ashur. The fourth branch is called the Euphrates. So, we do know that there is a Tigris River. Gihon is a place, and the Euphrates River is also a real place. I have never actually looked on a map to see where these are. I'm probably going to get to doing that. The Lord God placed the man in the Garden of Eden to tend and watch over it. But the Lord God warned him, "You may freely eat the fruit of every tree in the garden except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat its fruit, you are sure to die." Then the Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper who is just right for him." So the Lord God formed from the ground all the wild animals and all the birds of the sky. He brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And the man chose a name for each one. He gave names to all the livestock, all the birds of the sky, and all the wild animals. But still there was no helper just right for him. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. While the man slept, the Lord God took out one of the man's ribs and closed up the opening. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib, and he brought her to the man. "At last," the man exclaimed, "this one is bone from my bone and flesh from my flesh. She will be called woman, because she was taken from man." This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Now the man and his wife were both naked, but they felt no shame.